A lot of 12th pass out students, they do not know which profession to go into, which career to choose,
Right.
which direction to move forward. So how do you help those students get into the right direction as a career coach?
Mostly people after 12th are more confused because of
Any tools that you know about to build a portfolio जो काफी अच्छा है, and आजकल ना websites बनाते हैं लोग अपना portfolio अच्छे से दिखाने के लिए.
Yeah.
So how to make it more attractive? What do you think are the best career options?
the hottest career path right now is prompt engineering. After the GPT tools have come in, prompt engineers will be paid a bomb amount because I definitely know that content creation is here to stay. It's not going anywhere. Entrepreneurs are creating content today. If somebody is building a business is creating content today, it's here to stay. Everything is built on content here. When people are building resumes, the number one mistake is
So hello and welcome back to Masterclass by College Vidya, and today we have Dhairya Gangwani again on our show. It is also because we haven't shot a lot of other topics with her which were left, as we discussed in the previous podcast. If you have watched it, we shot about LinkedIn optimization with her, as she has more than 1 lakh LinkedIn followers. But today she's also going to talk to us as a career coach. She's going to give us advice on how to crack a job interview, how to build a resume, and what career options can you choose after your 12th standard. So we are going to talk about more of the details about everything. We're going to talk about how to build a portfolio and a lot of other things as well. So just stay tuned and keep watching Masterclass by College Vidya. So hello Dhairya, welcome back to College Vidya.
Thank you so much, Swikriti, for having me. It's a pleasure to be back. I didn't know that we'll be meeting again so soon. But I think, it's great. We had so much to talk about last time.
Yeah.
And I hope this time we can talk at length and cover all the remaining conversations that we had to get into.
Yeah. Shirley, so I'll just move forward with the first question.
Sure.
A lot of 12th pass out students, they do not know which profession to go into, which career to choose,
Right.
which direction to move forward. So how do you help those students get into the right direction as a career coach?
Yeah. So I think, specifically when you look at the word career coach, you are essentially coaching somebody to excel in their career in simple terms. How you can do that is by either helping them with getting to their dream job or their dream internship in a faster amount of time. And that can be done by either helping them with preparing for the interviews better, helping them with their resume that gets them shortlisted into their dream companies, or by helping them with their communication skills, personality, etc. Now, when I got into the field, I did not know that this is what a career coach has to essentially do. This is what they are supposed to be doing as a function of their job description per se.
Okay.
Because as a career coach, what you're just doing is helping somebody navigate their career. You're a mentor, you're a guide, and you show them the pathway. But at the same time, it's very important to also understand that a career coach is not somebody who gets you a job. There's a difference between someone who helps you with the job navigation and job search process and someone who actually gets you jobs. And HR is somebody who recruits people into a company. And an HR and a career coach are very different. It took me a lot of time to understand that also. And it then took me a lot of time to make people understand that how is my function as a career coach different from an HR. Right? So I essentially help people navigate through their careers. I help them get one step closer to it. And anything and everything that they need to do, at least on the managerial and soft skills and profile building side, I help them with. So I am not somebody who can help someone with cracking a software engineering technical round at Google. But the same person who's applying for a software engineering role at Google, if they need help with preparing for the HR round or need help with building their resume, or need help with their LinkedIn profile, I can help that same person, right? So I cover that aspect for people right from the age of 18 to 40.
Okay.
That's essentially what I do.
So these are all the things that you do as a career coach.
Right.
So if I ask you about how do you help 12th standard student navigate their career choices? So are there any students like those who come to you and ask such questions कि I don't know Dhairya कि मतलब मुझे क्या करना है आगे?
Right.
मैंने 12th पास आउट तो कर लिया है, but अब मैं कहाँ जाऊँ? अब मैं कौन सा स्ट्रीम चूज करूँ? ग्रेजुएशन में कौन सी डिग्री लूँ? Then how do you help those students?
Yeah. No, definitely. See, most of the queries that come in are with respect to confusion regarding career, right?
Yeah.
And it's not about the age also, but everybody just wants to be sure that, okay, if I'm getting into this, is it the right thing for me? And that is why they come to just cross-check, double-check, or get like a reference point that, do you think I'm taking the right step? Mostly people after 12th are more confused because of the chatter around them. What I mean by the chatter around them is, मम्मा कुछ बोल रहे हैं, पापा कुछ बोल रहे हैं, चाचा का बेटा कुछ और कर रहा है, मेरी बेस्ट फ्रेंड तो ये बोल रही है. So the problem is that they have so much that is fed into their brain that it's very difficult for them to know what is right for them. Because they always have a reference point of somebody else for whom it worked. So that's a major problem. And then typical questions are around the fact that, should I take commerce? Should I take science? Should I take arts? Or should I do something completely different? Should I do a post-graduation right after my UG without any work ex? Or should I get work ex first? Should I do an in-person program or do an online degree? Or there are also questions around the fact that, how do I ensure that, let's say I take up a degree and I spend 1 year in it. I get such questions also, and I realize I don't want to do this. Then if I transition, what impression will it leave on my resume, on my profile in general? Will I get an admission in a completely different stream in college again? Things on those lines. And I think, see, typically when it comes to somebody making a choice, what you need to do and what you should choose, the ultimate goal is you want to be sure that I would like to be invested in this for some time. Right?
At least
some time. And
3 to 5 years.
And to get that surety, you will have to understand that you will have to experience it for yourself, unfortunately. I cannot tell you that now, for somebody right after their 12th grade, it's very difficult. I'm not saying it's impossible to get internships and real-time experience. To choose कि कौन सी stream लेनी है, ये नहीं हो सकता. तो फिर आप क्या करोगे? Then what do you do? The only way is to actually go with what you think would best align with your personality and where your interest is inclining. And then you have to just see. Because till the time you don't spend at least 6 months in it, you'll not really know if it's meant for you, right?
So are you asking 12th standard students to go for internships?
I am not telling them to do internships. But what I'm trying to tell them is that the earlier they can get a reality check of the practical side of things, it's better. So instead of digging too deep into just the college curriculum and what you're going to be taught, map what is going to be taught in the college curriculum with talking to somebody who's working in that field already once. So for example, if you decide you want to do a BCom degree, which is fine, whether you do it online or you do it offline in a regular college, talk to somebody who just in the recent time, 6 months back or 1 year back has
done it.
Done a BCom degree, preferably from the same college, and see where they are in life and what they're doing. And also talk to somebody who had passed out 2 years ago and see where they are in life and what you need to do. Just get reality check. Because like I told you, how will you make a choice? Because a 12th grade person, number one, shouldn't have everything figured out. That's not the age जहाँ पे आपको सब पता होना चाहिए. You shouldn't be. It's completely okay to be confused. But the only way I can help them make better choices by understanding their strengths, their weaknesses, what gap can be filled, and how capable are they to fill that gap, and how much time will it take for that individual to fill that gap. These 5 things are very different for everybody.
Okay.
Because one person could upskill in 2 months, right? But somebody else may take a year. And you can't judge them for that. Everybody has a very different way of coping up, learning and intellect, which is okay. So when I ask those questions, we do a little bit of a road mapping for them. I try and understand, do they need to upskill in terms of a tool, software skill, or a degree is necessary? वो भी देखना पड़ता है. Will they have to do a full-fledged course, a certification, or is just learning a software or one particular skill enough at this stage apart from what they're going to learn in the college? What are the other alternatives? What is the backup? Let's say this person goes ahead, I'm recommending them BCom kar lo. But still, as a career coach, my job is to tell them, in case at any point of time you feel this is not working out for you, these are the other options that you can take up, and this is the route you need to take to be able to move there. So it's an entire process and journey. It's very customized and personal to each student. So it's a case-to-case basis.
Can we categorize like the streams that you just spoke about, कि arts हो गया, commerce हो गया, science हो गया? तो साइंस लेके क्या क्या चीजें कर सकते हैं, क्या
Sure.
क्या? हाँ,
See, I think it's known. I'm not going to state something that's rocket science, but typically after you do like you have a science background, engineering obviously opens up for you, right? You can obviously get into the MBBS field also. You take a PCB, you'll go into the MBBS stream. You take a PCM or you take a PCMB, then both are open to you. So engineering and obviously medical are two major streams that are open.
Yeah.
But what people don't talk about is it's not just becoming a doctor. Today you can become a physiotherapist. You can become a sports, journalist.
Yeah.
There are so many interesting professions. And to become sports journalist, you will have to have a medical degree prior.
Okay.
And then a very interesting combination of being a good communicator, having a good screen presence, being able to interact with people, etc.
Right.
But there are so many interesting career paths, right, that have come up. And today, I think you have such advanced medical practices. You can become a dermat. You could obviously get into any other medical field, obviously. You could, for all you know, become a nurse. You don't have to become a doctor also. You could do BDS and get into dental practice. And then after engineering, obviously, I feel engineers do everything apart from engineering. So I don't want to get into that. I'm an engineer myself who has done everything other than engineering. So I will not comment. But yeah, I mean, typically after engineering, you get into your core jobs or you get into the IT industry, right? That world just opens up. All your top service-based companies, IT companies, they're hiring engineers left, right, and center for yours.
I think even cybersecurity professionals.
Yes, definitely.
That comes
Cybersecurity will come in. AI, ML engineers will come in. Prompt engineers today.
Yeah.
The hottest career path right now is prompt engineering. After the GPT tools have come in,
Yeah.
and prompt engineers will be paid a bomb amount because just having the ability to give the right prompt to a tool and getting the right output is such an important skill today, right?
Yeah.
Not everybody can
do it.
It's not as simple as just saying, hey, do this, right?
Yeah.
So, and yeah, I mean, apart from that, when we look at creative careers also, you don't have to necessarily, again, be from an arts background. I'm not from an arts background, but today I am in a creative profession.
Yeah.
Whether you want to become a content strategist, you want to get into brand marketing, you want to become a growth marketer, you want to get into content strategy, or you want to, let's say, even get into running your own agency or doing digital marketing, anything else. All of these are today, fortunately, not dependent on the degree you do, right? But yeah, again, after doing your commerce, so you have all kinds of options. You could get into CS, you could become a company secretary, you could do your CA, you could then go on to do any other finance-related courses. You could become a financial analyst, you could get into investment banking, you could do an MBA, and then further options could open up. You could get into consulting, you could get into taxation, accounting, endless opportunities, right? And after arts, obviously, again, either you could pursue a particular language and become a teacher in it also. You could do psychology. There are so many
things that we cannot completely speak about everything.
But one thing I want to say is that irrespective of whether you do arts, science or commerce, everything that I stated, right from the science options till the arts options, you can become any of these even if you don't come from that background.
Yeah.
That thing is for sure.
Yeah.
And that is what I love about the new age world we are in.
Yeah.
Nobody can tell you that, hey, you did an engineering degree, so you cannot become a consultant or you cannot become a content creator.
Yeah.
Right? Or if you did a computer science degree, nobody can stop you from getting into psychology and becoming a psychology professor.
Yeah.
You can do it all. So just that disclaimer that none of your career options are bounded by the degree you pursue.
So you just need to be sure about what you want to go ahead with.
Yeah.
If you're not sure about, maybe you can explore more.
Yes,
Get into the stream. Actually, एक बार करने के बाद ही समझ आता है कि ये मेरे लिए बना है या नहीं बना है.
And I think यार स्वीकृति, just to add on to it, in case आपको लग रहा है कि नहीं इस field में because some fields, like you said, cyber security, I'll take that example only, very practically, because her field में it's not possible. Because people will argue then, or maybe even say, see, yes, I understand if you want to get into cyber security, having some kind of a certification or background is important. कोई भी मूड के cyber security department में नहीं आ सकता.
Coding आनी चाहिए आपको.
बेसिक लैंग्वेजेस आनी चाहिए आपको. कोडिंग लैंग्वेजेस से ज्यादा साइबर सिक्योरिटी में ISO सर्टिफिकेशंस होते हैं. वो ISO सर्टिफिकेशंस टू गेट अ जॉब इन सर्टेन स्पेसिफिक कंपनीज, मोस्टली इफ यू आर applying for cyber security analyst roles or associate or other roles also, some companies have a specific requirement. You have to complete ISO certifications to become a cybersecurity analyst. If you want to get into project management, minimum 5 years of experience and PMO wala project management, PMO की जो certification होती है वो करनी ही पड़ती है. जिस field में मैं थी when I was an SAP consultant, I joined as a fresher, as an intern, so I didn't have that barrier. But anybody else that they would hire directly to get into the SAP Ariba field, at least one SAP Ariba certification was needed to be done.
Okay.
So certain fields, yes, require you to have a certain expertise.
That is also the skills that you need to
build.
have. And I think on that base only you can. So that is why it is important कि एक दो चीजें explore करो.
Correct.
देखो कि क्या चीज. अब जैसे कि फॉर एग्जाम्पल आई टेक माई ओन एग्जाम्पल, जर्नलिज्म से हट करके आई चोज मार्केटिंग.
करेक्ट.
सो दो स्ट्रीम्स वर सिमिलर. स्किल्स दैट वर यूज, दे वर इंटरकनेक्टेड. तो जो स्किल वहां यूज हुआ था, क्योंकि मुझे पता है कि माई पर्सनैलिटी इज दैट काइंड ऑफ कि मैं ये दोनों चीजों को ही मैनेज कर सकती हूँ, मैं ये दोनों चीजें रिलेट हो रही. सो यू कैन ऑल्सो डिसाइड फॉर योर सेल्फ की कोर क्या है, आपका कोर बिलीव क्या है, कोर चीज मतलब क्या करना चाहते हो. एंड देन देयर आर लॉट ऑफ अदर थिंग्स, लॉट ऑफ डिफरेंट कोर्सेज दैट यू कैन टेक अप वंस यू आर श्योर अबाउट which skill you want to go ahead with. So I think that answers our question कि किस तरीके से identify करना है अपना career after 12th.
Right.
Because बहुत मुश्किल होता है यार, मतलब it is like a full confusion वाला.
It is यार, see I'm literally telling you, I think it is very, very, very one of the most difficult things to choose is what to do in your life.
और ये लगता है कि 12th के बाद तो हो गया ना, अब तो आराम करना है.
नहीं,
But ऐसा कुछ नहीं होता है.
आराम कभी नहीं होता है. And I think किसी भी एज में आप आ जाओ, 100% श्योरिटी की यही मुझे करना है, वो बहुत कम लोगों को आती है. नहीं, और ब्लेस्ड अगर आपको आ जाती है. एंड दैट्स व्हाई आई व्हेन पीपल टेल मी हाउ कम यू हैड सो मच क्लैरिटी इन कॉलेज, इवन आई डोंट नो हाउ आई डिड, आई जस्ट फील आई वाज ब्लेस्ड.
ऑल्सो वन थिंग एज यू स्पोक अबाउट कि ऑनलाइन में डिग्री लो या फिर रेगुलर में लो, तो मतलब अगर कोई बच्चा कंफ्यूज है, ठीक है, तो इज इट गुड दैट अगर वो एक रेगुलर डिग्री ले रहा है तो उसके साथ एक ऑनलाइन डिग्री भी ले सकता है, जस्ट टू अंडरस्टैंड यू नो, ऐसे एक छोटा शॉर्ट प्रोग्राम या समथिंग. व्हाट डू यू रिकमेंड?
नहीं, I feel there is no loss ever. I think the more you're going to add on to your knowledge box, you're only going to become more knowledgeable. There is no harm in pursuing multiple degrees, in doing major minors, in doing one degree in person in a proper university setup, while pursuing another one as a distance learning program or online. As long as you, because today again it's a privilege, right? If we ask our parents that you could do a degree in data analytics and also learn marketing with it, those options were not there. In fact, I just saw a post some days back that some foreign university has become the first university to introduce a full-fledged program, 1-year program in content creation. How to become a content creator पे पूरा 1-year program, degree. Where is the world going? The point I'm trying to make is you have the privilege, the opportunity and the access today because of the internet, because of digitization, because of companies like College Vidya where you can compare, know which college to go with, which course to choose, which one to do, whatever it is. So let's say if you are, for example, I take an example, doing an engineering degree, BTech in IT for example, from some college, tier 1 college, you can still, and if you realize, yaar, ये तो पूरा कोर टेक्निकल हो गया, बट व्हाट इफ आई मेड फॉर समथिंग क्रिएटिव. अब इंजीनियरिंग कॉलेज तो आपको अलाउ नहीं करने वाला है ना कुछ क्रिएटिव करने का, तो मे बी यू कैन ऑन द साइड डू अ BBA और अ BCom as a distance learning program or a shorter course that is available. Why not? It can be a testing ground for you also, and early on you can recognize if this is my cup of tea and if I would like to pursue it. Or for all you know, agar you don't choose to do it also, you're just building on multidisciplinary skills for life. So I think it's always a good option and a good thing to go ahead with trying different things. And like I said, if we have the access to it, you should definitely do it.
But as you told me कि मतलब you are blessed, clarity नहीं थी, but फिर भी मतलब you know you did a lot of internships and that's how you got the clarity. So आप क्या रेकमेंड करते हो कि इंटर्नशिप्स मतलब करने चाहिए पहले, एंड लाइक हाउ टू क्रैक दोज इंटर्नशिप्स? लाइक आपने जैसे आपने पिछले एपिसोड में बोला था दैट यू डिड 25 इंटर्नशिप्स, सो हाउ डिड यू क्रैक दोज इंटर्नशिप्स एंड हाउ कैन समबडी हु इज वाचिंग अस राइट नाउ कैन डू द सेम?
Sure. See, I'll tell you one thing. When it comes to clarity, what I've realized is you can never be 100% sure about what you're doing, but you will have some sense in your head if you enjoy what you're doing or not. And most of the times, if you enjoy and like what you're doing, you become good at it.
Okay.
Over a period of time. Even if you are average, you will become better with time.
If you keep doing
If you keep doing it.
Yeah.
And the only way to keep doing it is if you like it. Something you don't like, you're not going to keep doing.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. मैं आपको रोज दाल चावल दूंगी, पर आपको अगर दाल चावल नहीं पसंद है, आप रोज नहीं खाओगे. But वही अगर मैं पिज्जा रोज दे दूंगी, आप खा लोगे because you like pizza. The point is, you will leave something or start building a resistance towards it and will not put your entire heart and soul into it if you're not there and you don't like it. But if you like it, even if you're not so good and skilled at it today, there is a very high chance of success 1 year or 2 years from now if you keep at it. So the point I'm trying to make is, I just knew that if I figure out, do internships, I'll be in a position to know what I can give my heart and soul to. I may not be good at it. I will just have 50-60% surety कि इन सब में से ये कर सकते हैं. उसको अब बेस्ट कैसे करना है, उस पे I'll have to work. But then you should be willing to work on that because you like it. So it's all a game of knowing where does your mind, heart feel at peace and you're okay with doing it. Internships, I feel, are a great way to just, it's a testing ground here. You in a way get like a real-time check of what your job will look like. You get a check of what the expectations from the company's end are, what is expected from you, what you need to deliver. And you also get a reality check that what I was liking by just reading some concepts in a book or thinking of what marketing is or what are the 4 P's of marketing or what digital marketing looks like or running Google ads is so fancy. But when you actually run a campaign for a brand and you see कि return on ad spend actually कैसे निकलता है और फिर क्या होता है, that's when you get to know कि this is how you apply it and this is what I learned actually meant. So internships give you that wider perspective. So I think for anybody who is looking to find internships, the number one thing you need is curiosity. More than anything else. The only reason I think I got selected by an Abu Dhabi based firm for my first internship, that too paid after 50 rejections though, was because I was willing to learn. I told them I've not done anything in this field before as such. I know I may not be the best fit because I'm not from a B school also to do a business development role per se. And I've not learned sales as such, but I'm willing to learn. Right? I'm willing to put in effort. Any employer at the biggest of the biggest companies or a small boutique company wants people who have the willingness to learn and they are okay and open to also doing things that may not be told to be done. I don't have to tell somebody that maybe you can get this done too. If you're really eager, invested in that job, you'll get it done. So that attitude is very important. And once you have the willingness and the curiosity to get an internship, you need a good profile. When you apply on any job portal or internship portal, whether it's Internshala, LinkedIn, or you're going to Glassdoor, you're going to Naukri.com, or you're going to Let's Intern, बहुत सारी portals हैं, कहीं भी जा रहे हो आप. आपको अपनी प्रोफाइल बनानी पड़ती है as a student also. You have to upload your resume. You have to answer a few questions they ask you. Like, what is your previous experience been like? What degree are you pursuing? Do you have any work samples or portfolio? Just in case you're applying for creative roles. There are a couple of questions every portal asks you to answer. Some portals ask you to upload a video resume. You have to set up your profile on those portals and apps, right? Then they call you for interviews. In interviews, the major job is, even at an internship level, whatever you've stated in your profile and on the resume, it should reflect in the interview. You have written, you understand how to write creative content pieces that convert. ये आपको copywriting आती है basically. And you can get leads by your creative writing skills. Then I'll actually give you a imaginary product. I'll tell you I'm launching this. Give me a one-line copy for this. So if you are writing all of that and claiming that, you should be able to back it up in the interview, right? So it's not just about making a fancy profile or a portfolio and filling up information. You have to also be prepared to actually back what you are saying, right? And then once you clear your internship interviews, generally, typically, I think the first 1 week just goes into settling and understanding again how hierarchy works, how do you work in a team, what are the expectations. Then it's a journey. 2 months at least, 2 to 3 months into an internship is when you realize, can you pull this off or not? in terms of is this domain or field even meant for me or not. That period I think is substantial. 60 days is more than enough to get some idea, can I do this at least for the next 1.5 year full time or not? Because if a 6 months, a 2 months internship wherein you have to spend 8 hours a day, that is only getting difficult for you, या आपको मजा नहीं आ रहा, तो job करना तो obviously easy नहीं होगा. So that's how the entire process really goes. And at my time, the only portal I knew of was Internshala. So all the internships I had applied for were through Internshala. But today, like I told you, there are multiple examples, multiple apps, multiple channels, communities, and social media platforms via which you can apply for internships.
We have Internshala on our portal as well at College Vidya, and we do provide jobs and internship.
That's great.
Students. Because with a degree, we feel that you need to have an internship as well to see how the practical knowledge is working for you.
True.
Do you really want to pursue this career ahead or not?
Yeah.
So just wanted to tell it for all our audiences. Coming to, as you said, कि कैसे आप रेज्यूमे बना सकते हो, पोर्टफोलियो कितना स्ट्रांग होना चाहिए, हर जगह हर प्लेटफॉर्म पर आप अपना रेज्यूमे बनाओ. You know what you're writing in the resume or you're writing in the portfolio should reflect the interview जब आप दे रहे हो. So I think communication is also one thing that
definitely
plays a very important role. तो communication काफी strong होनी चाहिए. आपका जो काम है वो दर्शाना आपको आना चाहिए. तो एक तो ये हो गया. Any tools that you know about to build a portfolio जो काफी अच्छा है, and आजकल ना websites बनाते हैं लोग अपना portfolio अच्छे से दिखाने के लिए, या because अब वो Google Doc, PDF वो जमाना जा चुका है. Now we have so many AI tools, so many different websites that you can build. So how to make it more attractive? How to make your portfolio more attractive?
Sure. See, while I agree with what you said, जमाना जा चुका है and बहुत options है, पर ऐसा नहीं है अगर आप आज भी अच्छा काम कर रहे हो और मेरे को लिटरली सिर्फ लिंक्स भी डाल के दे रहे हो PDF या गूगल डॉक पे, as long as काम अच्छा है लोग फिर भी नोटिस करेंगे. बिकॉज ये वही बात हो गई, मैं एक बहुत एस्थेटिक वेबसाइट या लैंडिंग पेज बना दूं फॉर माई पोर्टफोलियो, बट काम अच्छा है ही नहीं.
हाँ, ये भी है.
That will still leave a bad impression. If you can get the best of both, great. But overall, I feel to just present your work, irrespective of which field you are in, whether you're a project manager, you're an aspiring data analyst, video editor, content strategist, or anybody else, I feel that Notion is a great platform to create your portfolio. You can also use this no-code tool called Webflow और Wix पे आप अपनी वेबसाइट बना सकते हो, वर्डप्रेस पे भी आप बना सकते हो, वेबफ्लो पे भी आप लैंडिंग पेजेस बना के अपनी वेबसाइट बना सकते हो और उधर ही अपनी पोर्टफोलियो प्रेजेंट कर सकते हो.
Free?
It's all free. Okay. These are all free. Okay. On Wix, I think there is a basic hosting charges you have to obviously pay because domain name आपको खरीदना पड़ेगा. But it's pretty basic, 300 or 400 for a year. Right? Not a very expensive thing, and I think WordPress पे तो free में बन जाता है.
बट आपको ये लगता है ना कि मतलब ऐसे पोर्टफोलियो बनाना does add value to when you're sending it to
100%. When I see somebody who has like a proper planned Notion doc with their portfolio, or I see like a proper landing page dedicatedly made for their skills, the previous clients they've worked with, or previous jobs they've been in, some testimonials, some previous work of theirs, it just leaves a very good impression. It builds your trust. You feel like investing your time in that talent, wanting to interview them. It just shows your confidence in yourself also. And your ability to present what you know.
Surely.
So I think, whether it's a Notion doc, whether it's a Google Doc, PDF, Webflow, WordPress, or Wix, and there are so many other tools. Use what you want to. For all you know, you can use Canva and create a very beautiful PPT and convert it into a PDF also. Canva has got multiple templates, designs, drag and drop, use your creativity, convert it into a PDF file, make a beautiful portfolio. Right?
And also in one psychology podcast that we shot before, so there were 2 guests and they told us कि अपने ना जितने भी चीजें आपने की है लाइफ में, जितने भी अचीवमेंट्स हैं, उसको अगर आप जॉट डाउन करते हो, उसको कहीं लिखते हो, उसको अच्छी तरीके से प्रेजेंट करते हो, तो that also boosts your confidence.
It does, because you reflect back on, okay, we have done all of this. Generally आप बैठ के थोड़ी ना सोचते हो, ये कर लिया, वो कर लिया, ये हो गया. Like, I never sit down and think, which is wrong. You should reflect for a moment that what have I done in the past 3.5 years. You should. Because you miss out on a lot of things in general. A lot of times I've realized when you sit down and write and you reflect, you actually remember so many things that you have forgotten that you have done.
Exactly. So always, invest your time in building your portfolio. Make it beautiful. Make it the aesthetics that you want it to look like. So confidence भी बढ़ेगा, साथ में काम भी होगा. So win-win situation. ऑल्सो मैं भूल ना जाऊँ ये चीज़, क्योंकि आज बहुत भूल रही हूँ कि रेज्यूमे में भी ऐसी, मतलब बहुत सारे लोग जब रेज्यूमे बनाते हैं तो जनरल मिस्टेक्स क्या हैं जो लोग हर इंसान करता ही करता है. मतलब आप एक करियर कोच भी हो, so बहुत सारे लोगों के रेज्यूमेस भी देखे होंगे आपने. So what are the common mistakes that a student or a learner make?
See, I feel when people are building resumes, the number one mistake is people want to dump all the information into it. It's overexcitement, oversharing, or people just have this notion कि जो भी किया है लाइफ में सब इधर बस उधेड़ देना है, to just spill it. The reality is only what is necessary is to be shared. Telling everything that you have done is not going to help. Having a 7-6 page long resume does not prove you have done something in life. So choosing quality over quantity is a very, very big, tough situation. And people find it very difficult. Ki, how do I still ensure that I look like a resourceful employee and everything that I've done is going out there also? But everything doesn't have to. So making the choice of what is needed and what can be discarded or what may not be needed to be shared.
Can you say that, like, मतलब जो आप जिस जगह अप्लाई कर रहे हो उसके अकॉर्डिंग जो मैच कर रहा है
वो तो करना ही है,
कहीं ना कहीं वो रखना.
फॉर एग्जाम्पल, जैसे अगर यू आर अप्लाइंग फॉर let's say data science role somewhere, data scientist, including one of the marketing internships you've done adds a good flavor because it shows you have multidisciplinary skills. You also have a knack for creativity. You have other skills that could complement. But unnecessarily अगर आपने let's say marketing internship भी किया, operations भी किया, sales भी किया, it's not relevant to you applying for a data science role. Let the sales and operations go away. Keep whatever was the best other than data science one more just to show the flavor. So the focus obviously has to be as per the job description and the company requirements. That's how you have to mold everything. You have to prepare for your interview accordingly. You have to build your resume accordingly, portfolio, everything. That alignment is still in place. But uske alawa, what I'm trying to tell you is, क्या शेयर करना है क्या नहीं और कितना शेयर करना है is very important to gauge. I think the other mistake that I've seen that a lot of people make is again using very fancy templates for their resumes. Colorful aesthetic templates with loud colors, with designs, with images and infographics and bar graphs बने हुए हैं, skills दिखने के लिए bubbles fill किए हुए हैं.
bar graph नहीं देखा मैंने
देखे 97, जैसे Java है तो 97% bar graph भरा हुआ है, Excel है तो 90%. मतलब what's your proficiency level?
मतलब वो ज़्यादा ही हो जाता है.
It's not compatible with the applicant tracking system, the ATS, which scans your resume in all your Fortune 500 companies. The ATS does not like images. It does not like anything that is colorful or pictorial. It's friendly with text. So any chunky and cluttered image it sees, it discards. And it doesn't look very professional. But
then I have one question for you. What about people in the creative field? They want to show their creativity on their resume. What about them?
You should. But you cannot have a very, very cluttered resume. And the other thing is, in creative fields, this is an exception. In creative fields also, if you're applying via the portal, which is their website, their career page or a job portal, then तो आपका फिर भी ATS scan होगा, even though it's a creative field. So there's still high chances you should avoid using too many pictorial elements. If you're applying via referral or doing cold outreach or sending them an email yourself, then it can be any kind of resume.
Then you can go on the creative.
You can go wild with your imagination, create whatever you want to, right? Like I've heard of examples of people who wanted to apply to Netflix and they created an entire Netflix dashboard and how your home screen looks like, or an Amazon cart, and all of that creativity should be used then, right? Because that's the kind of a job you're going for. So I think that is super impressive. You should do all of that, but that is when you're directly doing an outreach.
But you have to take care of the ATS and that scan. That is why a lot of people believe that उनको black and white में ही रखना चाहिए अपना resume. And
see, यार, I'm not saying color बिल्कुल मत डालो. आपके जो titles हैं, जैसे work experience, education, let's say certifications, whatever, your headings and titles can be in a different color. You want to make it green, orange, purple, whatever, it's fine. That and just the text entirely in black is more than enough. Don't make your resume look like a circus. That's all that I would say, right? Yeah, just keep it professional. It needs to look well indented, well formatted, pleasing to the eyes, but it doesn't have to look like a
circus.
We got that pretty well.
ठीक है, मैं simple रखो, sorted रखो. अगर cold ईमेल करना है तो थोड़ा
तो creative हो
सकते हो आप.
Yes.
When we spoke about career, एक चीज़ जो मैंने उस टाइम नहीं पूछा, you know, there are a lot of career options today, है ना. बहुत मुश्किल है आइडेंटिफाई करना भी, और इंसान इंटर्नशिप कर करके भी सीखता है, स्पेशली फॉर द 12th standard students who want to choose something for graduation. But कैसे डिसाइड करें कि अगर मैं ये करियर चूज कर रही हूँ तो वो 10 साल तक रेलिवेंट रहेगा, एंड यू नो इट हैज़ अ लॉन्ग पीरियड ऑफ टाइम टू स्टे. बिकॉज आजकल, पहले पापा मम्मी के ज़माने में मतलब ऐसा होता था कि एक जॉब की शुरुआत की है ना, आप वही कर रहे हो टिल द एंड ऑफ योर life. Now you have so many career options cropping up. You know, content creation is one of the new profession जहाँ पर अब हर कोई घुसना चाहता है. There are other fields as well that are coming up. Even psychology का field काफ़ी ज़्यादा broad हो चुका है. And you just spoke about sports journalist.
Yeah.
मतलब बहुत सारी चीज़ें हैं. मतलब आजकल celebrity nutritionist बन सकते हो आप. मतलब तमाम चीज़ें, कुछ भी कर सकते हो. मतलब anything that you're good at,
there is nothing that you can't do.
Yeah, anything that you're good at, you can make a profession out of it. So ये कैसे डिसाइड करें, क्योंकि बहुत ज़रूरी, जैसे आपने बताया कि पैशन, ये आपने पिछले उसमें बताया था, पिछले पॉडकास्ट में, कि तो मतलब पैसे भी देखना बहुत ज़रूरी है. मतलब अगर तुम पैशनेट हो मच्छर मारने में तो यू कांट डू दैट, राइट. मतलब यू हैव टू सी कि उसमें कितना इनकम आप जनरेट कर पा रहे हो. आर यू गोइंग टू बी फाइनेंशियली इंडिपेंडेंट आफ्टर डूइंग दैट कोर्स?
Yeah, correct.
सो ऑल ऑफ दिस कैसे आइडेंटिफाई करें?
Yeah, it's a very good question, and I think I will start with firstly agreeing to everything that you said. Today, literally, you have people who get paid to taste food.
Yeah.
You have food flavorists.
Yeah.
You have people who literally sit down and curate menus
Yeah.
for restaurants and cafes.
Yeah.
Because they know how to curate menus. That's also a skill.
You have jobs in Swiggy for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get paid to sleep also. Yeah. There was this company who had put out a posting, right? That 8 hours a day you have to sleep to test out their mattresses and to know how comfortable it is.
Yeah.
I mean, you could be doing everything. It's wild out there, what's happening. So the point I'm trying to make is you could be good at anything and do everything. That's one thing. But how do you figure, right? Because there's so many. See, number one, please accept one thing. You're not going to do what you're doing for the rest of your life. You won't be doing. 95% chances are no. If you fall in that 5%, great, and there's nothing bad. There's nothing bad in either. But 95% of the times, most of the people who have started doing something right now, they'll not continue doing it 5 years later. That's the reality. Accept it. It's okay. Gone are the days somebody served the same company for 30 years.
Yeah.
And it's not about company loyalty or an employer or an employee not getting along well or there being a fault in either of the two. The world is growing so rapidly. Everything is evolving so rapidly. There's a new technology popping up every single day.
Yeah.
Things are becoming redundant every single day.
Yeah.
The jobs that existed are going away and new jobs are getting created. Amidst all of this, it's extremely unfair if you feel a person won't evolve and would want to do something else.
Yeah.
Okay. But when you decide that whatever it is that you're doing, you want to do something, how do you make that choice, right? So I feel it has to be a combination of three things. I think one, you have to obviously just have a genuine liking or inclination towards that thing.
Okay.
I said that thing could even be gardening or farming.
Okay.
Today you have people who are full-time into organic farming. There is every field, like I said. There are food flavorists, there's wine tasting.
Yeah.
There is something actually also called, I don't remember that name, but mystery shoppers.
Okay.
So this is a very interesting career path as well. You get paid to go into these high-end fashion retail stores like let's say a Zara or an H&M or any other brand. And you have to go there and try out their different products and clothes and give them a review on what you thought of the quality, the fabric, what should they change, what can they do better on their collection. And you basically get paid to actually go out there and review. That's mystery shopping as well. So what I'm trying to say is you should have some keen interest and inclination towards that field, number one. Second is, you should be willing to go out there and be okay with not getting an opportunity right away and getting rejected because your liking towards that field is so much. Only then will you keep at it.
Yeah.
Because, see, it's one thing to just be interested in something. आदि से ज़्यादा इंडिया को क्रिकेट में इंटरेस्ट है ना? क्रिकेट इज अ रिलीजन इन इंडिया.
Yeah.
बट यार सब जाके क्रिकेट फुल टाइम परसू नहीं करते हैं एज अ प्रोफेशन. आप हर लड़के से पूछोगे दूसरे लड़के से, दे लव क्रिकेट, गर्ल्स ऑल्सो, विदाउट एनी जेंडर बायस, बट सब जाके क्रिकेट एज ए फुल टाइम प्रोफेशन तो परसू नहीं करते हैं. इतनी लाइकिंग होना कि आप उसमें इन्वेस्टेड रह सको एंड यू कीप एक्सपेरिमेंटिंग एंड ट्राइंग डिफरेंट थिंग्स एंड दैट्स द सेकंड स्टेप, राइट? दैट यू गो आउट देयर, गिव योरसेल्फ इनफ चांसेस, राइट? That I will get better at it, like I told you.
Yeah.
And then the third thing is also being practical about it, talking to people and understanding the earning potential in that field. Because you have to sustain, right? If you're considering it to be a career option, it has to at least be self-sufficient and you should be able to sustain your expenses if nothing else. So for that check, you have to talk to people, you have to do an industry analysis, do a market research, understand the average amount you can get paid per month. Is it cutting through your costs and expenses? And there is no career wherein you will know if this will stay relevant for the next 10 years.
No, but can we make a future forecast or something? I mean, जैसे journalism and TV media is almost like, I would not say dead, but थोड़ा कम हो चुका है. Like people have shifted to now digital media, now they are on social media. मतलब hardly people watch television. I mean, I'm not making a generalized statement, but if we see the population have shifted. So, TV journalism and all have, now digital journalism has increased.
Correct.
So, ये forecast कैसे करें? ये चीज़ कैसे determine करें?
हाँ, there are trends which you have to observe. That's why I say your general knowledge as a person, not just as a student.
Yeah.
What is happening around the world? What is happening in our economy? What are people doing currently? Being active on LinkedIn, networking with the right set of people, being in the right circles gives you this information a little prior and keeps you appraised.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I get forecasts. I don't get any kind of forecast. But I have access to the kind of people who will know slightly and much before than most people what can happen or where are things going.
Yeah.
And that is because you build such a network, you network with such people, you talk to them, you're in their vicinity, that you get an idea. You should be updated with the news also. I feel an InShots app or a ET or a Times Now app, कोई भी, any channel on your phone, जहाँ पे just go through the headlines every single day. Don't read the entire news.
अपने stream के बारे में
जानकारी रखो.
So that you can forecast कि हाँ मतलब this will be relevant.
I think all kinds of opportunities wherein your presence is needed to move the needle will never become irreplaceable. They will always be in demand.
Okay. Yeah, I would completely agree with that as well. So if we see today, if we just talk about today and, coming 5 years, what do you think are the best career options?
Okay, so I think purely basis, again, the trends that I'm seeing, basis the interactions I have with people in different industries, and where I see our economy moving towards also, right? Because that is an important contributor to what's going to boost
your financial income.
Obviously. I think number one would be anything related to tech.
Anything related to tech?
Anything related to tech.
Okay.
It could be right from your gaming industry.
The gaming industry is booming.
To anything related to cybersecurity and frauds and ethical hacking.
Yeah.
It's all under tech.
Yeah.
To your AI ML engineers, prompt engineering, like I said.
Yeah.
So anything related to technology will definitely keep booming. Because tech के बिना तो कुछ नहीं हो रहा है इस दुनिया में.
अब तो नहीं हो
कुछ नहीं हो रहा. So अगर आप किसी एक tech field में हो and you're good at what you do, I think it's very difficult that you will not have a job or have nothing to do. Second, I feel consulting and coaching as an industry, because consulting and coaching are very closely related. Okay. They involve a high level of human intervention, emotional intelligence, and your presence. No AI bot can come and counsel a student like a human being can. That emotional touch can't be added ever.
Can you explain us what is consulting in a very...
Sure. Yeah. So consulting is a field wherein you solve a business problem.
Okay.
That problem could be in sales, that problem could be in operations, it could be in people management, it could be in HR, in tech. Okay. To solve that problem, a company hires a consulting firm That consulting firm has got a team of consultants that they put on board for that project and deploy them on that project. And then you solve that problem via different skill sets, frameworks, and tools. So if you've provided a solution to a company, 1 year from now, it cannot become irrelevant.
Drop up.
It cannot drop up again.
Again.
Right? So it needs to be a solution that is feasible and practicably implementable on ground. That's what a consultant does.
So how much experience do you need to become a consultant?
See, generally you have to do an MBA to become a consultant.
Okay.
That
It's
is
an
what is
essential-
preferred. It's
okay.
preferred.
Okay.
But I could do one without an MBA because I had done a lot of internships.
That's right.
And luckily my college at least had the big fours coming in. Big three nahi aati thi in my year at
Lucky
EIT.
you.
Yeah. I mean, but right after my year, big three is also okay.
That's
So, so I had like big fours coming in and they would hire for technology consulting roles. But because as an engineer, you have a grip on technology. And then if you have great management skills, then an engineer becomes the right person to
you
hire.
have social proof to show. Basically.
So in consulting also, there are different verticals. You can't get hired as a strategy consultant without an MBA degree. That's very difficult.
Okay.
To become a strategy consultant, they will prefer somebody who has done an MBA. Technology consulting, financial consulting, you can still do without an MBA. That's how you enter. So consulting also as a field I feel is going to keep growing. Apart from that, I also see a very high potential in general in anything related to finance. Fintech.
Yeah.
Fintech is going big. It will be big and there's a lot of opportunity in fintech, right? And content creation,
Yeah, I was about
definitely. 100%.
A lot of influencers talk about content creation to fade away. It will not be a relevant job. What do you think about that?
I think only the best will survive.
Only
That's
the best
the
will
thing.
survive.
Because it's going to get highly competitive. Brands are going to put money only on people where they actually see through authenticity, value and connection with the audiences.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a game for the best. But that will happen 4-5 years from now. Usme abhi time hai. It also depends on the platform you are on. We have multiple social media platforms today. So the playground is yours. But I definitely know that content creation is here to stay. It's not going anywhere. Entrepreneurs are creating content today. If somebody is building a business is creating content today, it's here to stay. Everything is built on content here. So anything related to content, you become a content marketer, content strategist, you become a creator, or you're just involved in this creator ecosystem in some way.
Yeah.
You will grow.
Yeah.
And I think the last career option that I feel will boom and will do really well, I see psychology as a very big field as well.
Psychology?
Yeah. I really feel the kind of avenues that are there within psychology are immense and so deep. There is criminal psychology.
Yeah.
There is
Sports psychology.
there's all sports psychology is there. I think I was there's this, I'm not able to recall the name, but there was again something I was reading wherein I realized that there are actually more than 20 different bifurcations
In psychology.
itself, right? Which is mad.
Yeah.
So I think psychology also, and again, it requires human touch.
Yeah.
It needs you to be emotionally intelligent. It needs you to be resilient, adaptive, and it needs you to just not have to rely on any AI tools.
And with technology coming into picture, psychology is a much needed thing.
It is 100%. Even when you're building these cognitive ability tests or career aptitude tests, etc., psychology plays a very big role. So I think psychology is another big avenue. I feel.
And it can be used in all the fields.
All the fields.
All the
Yeah.
fields that we just mentioned.
Yes, application of psychology is everywhere.
Everywhere. So let's move on with our next question. We spoke a lot about career options to choose. I hope you guys are clear. जितने भी 12th स्टैंडर्ड के बच्चे देख रहे हैं, क्योंकि मेरे टाइम तो मुझे पता नहीं था यार कि क्या कहते हैं.
मेरे टाइम भी मुझे नहीं पता.
I hope Dhairya helped you at least figuring out something. And हमने काफ़ी सारे career streams भी mention किए, career options mention किए. तो I hope it helps. Resume, portfolio, सब कुछ बताया. Now let's move forward to how can somebody crack a job interview. मतलब ठीक है, नीश पता कर लिया, स्ट्रीम पता कर लिया, कहाँ जाना है, क्या कोर्स करना है, क्या डिग्री लेना है, ऑनलाइन डिग्री लेना है या डुअल डिग्री लेना है, सब पता कर लिया. लेकिन अब आ गया है कि अब मुझे एडवर्टाइजिंग में जाना है. अब मैं किसी बड़े से फर्म में अप्लाई कर रही हूँ. हाउ कैन आई क्रैक अ जॉब इंटरव्यू? एकदम आप 3 पॉइंटर्स बता दो कि ये करोगे तो
जॉब मिल जाएगी.
जॉब मिल जाएगी.
हाँ, क्यों नहीं, है ना बाबू भैया, शॉर्टकट बता दो बस, है ना, ऐसे नहीं होता.
क्वेश्चन अच्छा था कि नहीं बता.
ठीक है नहीं but ठीक है I'll give you like a 3-step process. I feel the first step to crack any interview or get a job is to be very clear with the exact role and the kind of companies you want to apply to. That has to be absolutely clear. Right? Marketing लोग बोलते बहुत वेग है यार. मार्केटिंग के अंदर क्या क्या है परफॉर्मेंस मार्केटिंग है ग्रोथ मार्केटिंग है डिजिटल मार्केटिंग है एससीओ है एसएमएम है क्या क्या नहीं है what within marketing do you want to do pehle be very specific and pinpointed about the role and the kind of companies you'd like to apply to right. The second thing that is extremely important is that you have to have a very good resume, cover letter, video resume and portfolio and LinkedIn profile. These 5 steps. Profile building is extremely important.
आपने एक वीडियो पोर्टफोलियो बोला अभी मतलब
वीडियो रेज्यूमे
मतलब ऐसा मतलब मैंने और किसी को नहीं बोलते हुए सुना है.
मैं आपको बताती हूँ मैं क्यों बोल रही हूँ. मुझे लगता है जिस तरीके की डिजिटल एज में हम हैं, where we are moving, right? AI is making videos for you today.
Yeah.
The human touch is just getting lost day by day. For me to trust you as a recruiter and for me to know you're a legitimate, resourceful person that I can hire into my ecosystem and in my company, if I get a 90-second video also of you telling me who are you, what is your background like, what ticks your boat, what are your major strengths, what kind of work have you done in the past, what is your motivation to join this company, a particular role in this company, and why should I hire you? 90 सेकंड में मुझे ये बता दो. It is very, very unlikely that someone may not take you seriously and will not want to hire you. Because most people will not do this.
There's actually a platform doing it.
Which platform?
I have interviewed them as well.
Okay.
There's a platform doing it. And they're doing it in US right now. And they are going to give you like 90 seconds and you upload your video.
हाँ वो तो वैसे कर रहे हैं
हाँ मतलब एकदम ऐसे कार्ड्स की तरह जैसे टेंडर बम्बल ना वैसा एकदम so that the recruiter also doesn't have more than 1 minute से ज्यादा नहीं है
exactly
get
60 seconds and see a visual medium not just tells them things about you, they can judge you on your confidence, personality, your body language, your communication skills. ये सब, these 5 things which I've told you, reading a resume will not tell me how confident you are. Reading a resume cannot validate you have great communication or interpersonal skills. Seeing a 60-second video of you sitting down and speaking already tells me a little bit about the cultural fitment also of the person in the ecosystem.
Exactly.
And hence, I'm encouraging people to have a video resume, have a cover letter, a resume, a portfolio, everything in place, and their LinkedIn profile. When all of this is optimized, curated, and hyper-personalized for that particular company and the role you're applying to, and you're very good at what you do, it's difficult for people to ignore you. And then step 3 is that you go out there and apply via every channel. Job portals, referrals, cold emailing, close networking apps like whether it's a lunch club or a leap club or it is a Cool Kanya or all of these kinds of communities that you hear of today. Every single platform and hire it app to whatever. There are multiple options available today. You have to knock every single door. Right? You cannot leave any channel out. You can't just rely on Naukri.com to give you a job or just on LinkedIn, right? And being in touch with your previous internship and company managers, building those relationships, networking, right? Networking is not a one-time thing. So my point is that network very well with people and knock every single door and channel that is accessible to you. That's how you get a job. You can't be cribbing that I've applied to 20 jobs on Naukri and I'm not getting a job.
Completely.
Because that's just how the market is. Nahi milti itni easily.
So as you answered how to crack a job interview, सही बोला आपने, networking is a very important, it plays a very crucial role in getting the job that you want. And but interview crack हो गया, बहुत सारे लोग negotiate नहीं कर पाते salary के बारे में. So any tips and any hacks that you want to share with us?
Sure. See, firstly, I think the mindset around salary negotiations in a country like India is very narrow. What I mean by narrow is everybody thinks it's wrong to ask for the money you deserve. Which I don't like. Somebody telling you that I deserve X and not X by 2 is just coming from a place wherein that person knows what he or she brings to the table. And that shows confidence, that shows ability, and that shows, I would say, the willingness to be able to work that much that I get X. So try to look at it from that lens, number one, and don't shy away from asking for what you deserve. Negotiating in a salary should not be looked down upon. It is nothing wrong that you're doing, number one. Number two, when you get into a salary negotiation conversation with an HR in the hiring process, if you're getting into that room without preparation and research, you are going to be in a messy situation. Because asking for something without having a logical backing to it or having researched about it will get you in trouble. Just saying, oh, I think I should get 2 lakhs more as a CTC. ऐसे नहीं होता है भाई. You cannot just randomly throw numbers. Why do you think your CTC should be a 15 LPA and not a 12 LPA? You back it up with telling me you have XYZ extra skills, you know 2-3 extra softwares, or you come with 2 years of extra experience, more than what was mentioned in the JD, or the previous work you've done in your previous firm and what impact you've been able to create for them, and then telling me you can do the same for me or much more. Or telling me I've done my market research well. On an average, everybody is getting paid at least a 14.5 lakhs, and hence I think 15 is justifiable. That's when I'll also give it a thought. And also understanding that when you're confident in your ability, in your skills, what value you bring to the table is when you will be able to make a good offer, right? Also, accepting the offer that is just given to you right away is also not the best thing to do. The moment somebody tells you, I can offer you 14 lakhs per annum, and you're like, okay, done. Just when you hear this also, you can understand what it's making you feel, right? So I feel that it's very important to reflect on salary negotiations, give you the room to also reflect on your skill set, where you stand, what you can do better, and why you deserve X and not X by 2, or why you deserve 2X. And I feel that ultimately you can also look at it from a very different lens. Let's say you're in a salary negotiation conversation and the HR says, no, we have a very strict budget. What you're asking for genuinely is not possible. The max, let's say you're saying 10 LPA, and she's like, the max I can go up to is 9. And ho gaya back and forth, and itna pata chal gaya, kuch bhi ho jaye, 9 se upar they'll not go. Now this is the time where you have to ask yourself, is the money component or this 1 LPA that important that I don't accept this job offer? Or the work culture or the company brand name or the opportunities you're going to get in the future or everything else that you're seeing more important, and you can let go of that 1 LP, and it's very subjective. Depends on your conditions and your priorities at that time, finances you have to take care of, and a lot more. But you can also look at it from a different lens. For some people, money may not be an important factor, but flexibility of work. So you can choose to tell them that, okay, I'm okay with 9, but I would need to work from home. I'll not be coming down to office. That's how you negotiate. Negotiation is some offer. So it's not always about the money component. Or you can tell them that I need more paid leaves.
So you keep your
maybe you have your options ready. What else can you work out? Or give me that 1 lakh budget as a knowledge or an extra learning budget. I want to do certifications. Right? You would need to upskill yourself to stay relevant. Tell them that they take care of that. Spend that 1 LP on your knowledge certifications for that year. Multiple things can be done, right? So it's not always just about the hard cash, not the cash component, but the hard base salary component that you are kind of negotiating for. It depends on what matters to you today, right? Because a lot of people today are, very firm on the fact that they want a work-life balance. They don't want to make their work their life, which is good. So you can also probably talk to them about being very sure of certain things that you will not be okay with, right? Like certain people are very sure about the fact that or you can tell them, see, I'll come 2 times a week to office, but the remaining 3 days I'll work in a hybrid manner or whatever else, right? Because that way you get more time to yourself. You can spend that time in practicing or doing things that you're passionate about as well. And if that gives you fulfillment, you're ready to let go of that 1 LPA. So choose what matters to you most. And if that 1 LPA is important, then you stick to the fact that you would like to go with the 10 LP, and then obviously go ahead with the offer that somebody else is making you. And you should also be okay with getting rejected in a salary negotiation. Which means even if things don't turn out in your favor and they say no, be okay with it. Right?
Don't make the face.
Just be okay with it and move on to the next opportunity.
Completely. And choose whatever suits you. Keep a pitch ready, I think, what are the complete no-nos in a job interview, or strictly should not do it?
I think the first one in a job interview would be to come extremely over-prepared with answers. Maybe slightly controversial.
Okay.
But I feel that when you have come very, very, very prepared, because, certain questions are going to be asked. Like, why did you leave your previous job if you have left your previous job? Or where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? What motivates you? Why do you want to join this company? Why should we hire you for this particular role? We know it's a given you're going to be asked these questions. And you're bound to prepare for them. I'm not saying don't prepare for them. Sometimes people overdo it. हर एक लाइन, हर एक वर्ड, एक भी मिस नहीं करना है, एक स्क्रिप्ट बनानी है, रट के जाना है. It looks too manual. Looks too unnatural. Doesn't look organic. Doesn't reflect your personality. Makes me think like you are extremely robotic. You don't have your own brain. And that may actually be a turn off. Instead of it going in favor for you. So don't be too over prepared and too technical and rigid on this is what you have to say. Right? Keep it a little free flowing. Okay. Let your original personality and outlook come out. Right? Okay. Don't suppress that. The second thing I would say is playing any kind of a blame game in any situation. Okay. Whether it is when you're asked situational or behavioral questions and to answer them, you're blaming either a colleague from your previous firm, your previous boss, your previous company, your current circumstances, your family conditions, anything I'm saying, not just bad-mouthing about people. Playing the blame game. No company wants to hire somebody who's looking for excuses. You want somebody who may have 1,000 excuses to give but will still get the job done, right? So you, in any circumstance or question asked to you, should not be playing the blame game. Don't try to be the victim. Be a problem solver, not a problem creator. Right? Or not somebody who's just voicing out a problem. And I think the third big no-no is to not ask good, relevant, smart questions towards the end of the interview to the recruiter. Not basic questions like, what will I be expected to do in this job? What will my day look like here? What will the work timings be? These are very basic questions. You don't ask these questions. Ask smart questions. Research well about the company. Be invested in what you're going to do. Maybe check with them what soft skills should I work on apart from the technical core skills needed to excel in this job. Right? How is it that I can ensure that my learning curve is steep? Would you recommend me to do any external certifications, or will there be any internal certifications or knowledge programs or, different conferences, etc. that you think I should be attending or should research about so that, again, my learning curve is steep and I can make progress in the company? These are meaningful questions. Read up about what the company has been in the news for in the recent times and ask them a question around that.
Give a good research about the company.
Yes, do good research about the company and ask smart questions. That shows you are serious about the job, you have a high intent, and you've not just come here to pass your time.
Completely. One question that was left when we spoke about internships. So, is it always necessary that you should go for unpaid internships? Because a lot of internships do not offer a stipend. So, shall we not do those internships if you're not getting paid, or shall we be okay about it? What? Because you said that you had all the 25 internship paid. So it's just my question for all the students.
Sure. See, my philosophy is the first internship that you do or the first 2 internships that you do can be unpaid. As long as you are sure that you're going to have a great learning, there's going to be value addition into your life. From a 360-degree standpoint. And after that period that you do that internship, you will be in a position that the next internship you look for in that domain, at least you will get paid. Then you can do an unpaid internship. But after doing an unpaid internship in that field, doing at least 1 or 2, there shouldn't be a point that you do even a single unpaid internship after that, because then you have to get paid. In fact, the first ones should be done with the motivation of getting experience, learning, and being capable enough to getting paid.
Completely.
Right? To come to a level where you can ask for what you deserve. So I'm not against it at all. Like I said, the first 1 or 2 should be unpaid and can be unpaid. Gain the experience, get the confidence, but then make sure you get paid
later on.
Later on.
Coming to our last question for this podcast, Dhairya. I just wanted to ask this question for all the students or learners who are into a different career today, but they want to switch into a different stream now. Like it has already been 2 to 3 years of doing that job, and maybe they're not liking it. So what are the important things to keep a note of? How can they switch their careers?
Yeah, sure. So I think when it comes to career transitioning or making a career switch, realizing that whatever it is that you're doing, you're not passionate about it anymore, or you think your calling is moving towards something else.
Yeah.
I think, again, there are 3 steps to it, right? The first step is acknowledging the fact that you are, I wouldn't say done with what you're doing, but you're not happy with what you're doing anymore. It doesn't motivate you. It doesn't get you excited,
Or maybe the financial
aspect of it is not making sense.
Yeah.
Maybe you're not getting paid enough, and you've realized that it's going to be more or less the same industry-wide only.
Industry-wise.
Whatever. Any of the situations, accept it, acknowledge it, it's okay. Because that acceptance step people don't get to. The second step is to have at least 2 options, not 1. 2 to 3 options. If not this, what is A, B, and C that I can do?
Okay.
If not finance, marketing, operations, UI, UX design. Right? Out of these 3, which one am I most inclined towards right now?
That's true.
Why am I most inclined towards it? Okay? Do I have even the most basic skills needed to get into this, or, have an entry-level position and break into this industry? Do an analysis. What are your skills currently? What are the skills needed in that role? Where is the gap? Some transferable skills you would have built on. There is nobody who doesn't have transferable skills. No matter what you do in life, when you move from A to B, कोई एक या 2 skills तो होंगी ही जो इधर भी काम आएंगी.
True.
So those 2 you keep intact, you're coming with that bonus. See what are the core technical skills you will have to work on. Right? So do that skill gap analysis and start preparing yourself. Whether it's doing certifications, learning a tool or software, enrolling in classes, maybe doing an internship, doing freelance work, getting experience, volunteering with a startup. Get something practical on your resume in that field.
Okay.
Because it can't be a job. Directly job ढूंढना after will be very difficult. Let's go practically. And then the third thing is talk to industry experts, leaders and professionals already working in that field you want to switch into. Understand from them where is the industry going, what are the trends like, what is the potential, what is the scope of growing in this industry, what do the salaries look like. Someone like you from an X domain moving to a Y domain, how easy or difficult will it be? What is that X factor you can add? Know from them if there are certain certifications that are purely in demand in that industry right now. If you do them, will it still give you an edge even if you come from a different background? Right?
Yeah.
Do that research, talk to them, and I feel at that point of time, you'll also realize if you need to do a degree per se to be able to get into this field.
I was
right?
also about to speak about
Yes,
this.
because a lot of fields will require you to come out of that comfort zone, go from that working professional zone to a student zone again, or maybe pursue it alongside your job if you're doing it from a distance learning program, but it's completely up to you. Because some professions will definitely require you to upskill via degree altogether.
Yeah.
Just a short course or a certification or a
internship
tool or
won't
software will not help. So वो भी तब आपको analyze करना पड़ेगा, right? So whether it's an MBA or a master's or a PGDM or an MIM, whatever it is, you'll have to see that.
And I think you should not leave your job while you're figuring out to switch your careers. Always,
Definitely. I mean, if you're not sure, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Because जो हाथ में है, उसको भी आप गवा
को
दोगे.
नहीं जाने देना चाहिए. And I think इसीलिए online degrees are very fruitful for working professional because आप साथ में पढ़ाई भी कर सकते हो.
And you still keep earning.
Yeah, you still keep earning and you can switch to a different career.
Yes,
And
definitely.
I wanted to make sure that I tell you about this, like all these students who are watching, because बहुत लोग ऐसे impulse में छोड़ देते हैं. मुझे पसंद नहीं आ रहा, मैं इतना 3 साल से काम कर रही हूँ या कर रहा हूँ, and I'm like completely exhausted.
Yeah.
I can't do coding anymore, or maybe I can't do something creative anymore. I want a basic stable job.
Yeah.
तो ऐसे होता है बहुत सारे problems, but online degree is one way where you can achieve that skill and then you can get back into that profession.
It gives you that flexibility
Yes.
and agility, and it gives you that comfort again
Yeah.
to be able to dabble between all of this.
Completely.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Dhairya, for coming again on our
pleasure.
podcast. And it was great talking to you. I mean, it's always great. And
No, it's always great to be hosted by you also. And I think the questions are always insightful.
Yeah.
And I just hope that the learners again and everybody the audience and the viewers who go through this masterclass podcast have something to take back and can apply the learnings. Maybe they get to know about some new career options. Maybe somebody who's confused and is thinking that they don't have anything figured in life, they get that confidence that it's totally okay.
it's totally okay.
And then I think I've done my job. But yeah, thank you so much for having me here again.
Yeah.
It's always great to collaborate with College Vidya in any form. And yes, thanks for having me.
Yeah. I think we always get to different questions when we are speaking to each other because Dhairya has a lot of knowledge about, career options, कैसे students आते हैं उनके पास क्योंकि हर कोई confused है. ऐसा नहीं है कि आप confused हो या मैं confused थी या Dhairya confused थी. I think everybody is confused and they are figuring it out.
Yeah.
So don't worry. And I think you will gain a lot of valuable insights from today's conversation. Just one thing, Dhairya. I wanted to ask you, what do you like about College Vidya, if I could ask you? And would you recommend it to other people and, other learners and students?
Sure. No, see, I genuinely feel that when it comes to aggregators or portals that merge all the information available in this ocean, which is called the internet,
Yeah.
and give you something in one place, that in itself is just beautiful and amazing to me. Whether it is travel aggregators, whether it's online education portal aggregators like College Vidya, the fact that my headache and job of going to 100 different tabs, doing so much research, putting my brain into it is at one place. Number one, the convenience.
Yeah. Yeah.
Number two, the fact that I can actually learn from top college faculties sitting at the comfort of my home or any location.
Exactly.
And still, like you said, for working professionals majorly, still have my bread and butter coming in, support my family, explore another career option, transition at the same time. It's beautiful. The flexibility, the agility, and the fact that everything is in one place. And again, the fact that it is not restricted to just a particular course. All kinds of courses, degrees, masters, everything is available, right? To choose from. That is what I like about College Vidya. And again, the fact that you are able to reach out to everybody, right? It's not just for tier 1 city students, tier 2, tier 3, tier 4. You could be from anywhere. As long as you have internet access, you can make use of it. So I think that is what makes College Vidya what it is, right? And that is what I like about it.
Yeah. And we try to make it inclusive because, even for people who are disabled, people who are having any physical problems, even it's a great way of learning for them.
I agree. I mean, differently abled people in any way, we have to, obviously, if someone has to think about them. Because I would like to say everybody should, but not everybody does. So someone has to think about how their learning journey, careers, and their families are going to sustain as well, right? Because they have equal right to earn, have a family, earn a living, and contribute to the GDP of the country as well. And they are no less than anybody else, right? So I think all of these flexible options open up doors and make learning and education more inclusive for everybody, like you mentioned.
Yes. Okay, great talking to you. Thank you so much.
Likewise, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.